Trey being oh God, pressure. Dore. You got it. You got it. You've knocked on the door. You've rung the bell. Jimmy Doorbell, I call him. Yes, that's a double entendre on dumbbell and just Dore, his last name Doorbell. But you know, I'm not going to be an elitist and just call him dumb because his Stan accounts are definitely, they think that's the only argument against him and what he's saying. So if you're not extremely online on the left, which I know at least a couple of you here in Washington are not, that you're just my friends and you're supporting me. Thanks again. Every time I do this, you guys support me. But you know, what is everybody talking about? Why is everybody so mad? Why was the name Jimmy Dore trending on Twitter? Why was the hashtag Force the Vote trending on Twitter yesterday? Why was Medicare for All trending a few days ago? Now, let's get this out of the way really quick. I support Medicare for All. I have always supported Medicare for All from the moment Bernie pitched it and wrote the damn bill. I supported it, and have always. I want it. I want Medicare for All. I'll get more into that a little later. But this guy Jimmy Dore, he's a left-wing YouTube host. He was on the Young Turks for quite a time, and then kind of went his own way, started his own thing. If you think of the trajectory of Dave Rubin, the right-wing grift, I would say that Dore has done this and just burrowed his own lane, his own kind of dead-end hole on the left. And he's not particularly policy-driven, doesn't pay close attention to the ins and outs of politics and things like that. But what he does do is get very angry. He gets very angry on his show, drops a lot of F-bombs, gets super upset. And what is Jimmy Dore's, why is he trending right now? What's his big thing? He wants AOC, and he specifically targeted Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and members of the squad, which has grown now to almost doubled. We have Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, and others. And he's pressuring them to block Pelosi's the vote for Pelosi as the Speaker of the House in the name of getting a floor vote for Medicare for All. Now, Pelosi has blocked a floor vote for Medicare for All for quite some time. She's blocked floor votes for plenty of things, but Medicare for All was one that she didn't allow to the floor because it wouldn't make her or her caucus look good when they voted against it, when conservative Democrats would vote against it, because that's what they'll do. That's what they'll do. So Tribunus Plebeius Media said, LOL. He's talking about Jimmy Dore. Yes, he's just spinning in a cul-de-sac while people cheer him on. Yeah, that's pretty good. He's doing donuts in a cul-de-sac, and a bunch of people are like, yeah. So let's watch a couple video clips just so you can get an idea of how Dore approaches this whole situation. And I'm gonna go into it more of it. So here's the video by a fan of his that this is supposed to paint him in a good light. Keep this in mind. This is supposed to make him, this is the best of his argument. So he wants AOC to lead the charge against voting for Pelosi for what? Just to get a floor vote for Medicare for All, which if you actually pay attention and, his whole thing is, he wants to see, hey, how are they going to vote? How are the Democrats going to vote for this? I want to know who's going to vote against this. If he paid attention to the campaign season, if he actually paid attention to the House candidates, he would already know the answer to that question. But anyway, let's check this video out.
We can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for All.
That's garbage. You can do it right now. We need 15 Democrats.
Hi, Jimmy.
We need the elected officials that you helped get elected to tell Nancy Pelosi that you will not vote for her as Speaker unless Medicare for All is put on the House floor for a vote.
I think it's a really smart idea.
The worst abuse of power,
ball.
Crystal, is not using the power you have to fight for people.
Will they? Time to let AOC AOC know they have no other option because we're watching and we see through their bullshit excuses.
We have to put public pressure on them.
I want to see who's going to vote against healthcare in the middle of a pandemic. If you're not going to do it now, you are never going to do it, you phony.
All the people who filled up.
So I'm going to cut this video short. So this is what Dore thinks is a good idea to do right now. Right now, as Biden hasn't even been inaugurated yet, he's still appointing people to his cabinet. We could be leveraging pressure on the Biden administration as the left, as progressives, to get better appointments, right? Jimmy Dore doesn't seem interested in that. There's lots of things going on that we could be pressuring the leadership in the House to do. Here, let's just go really quick and listen to a bit more of Jimmy Dore. I think this was clipped in some of that, but listen to this.
And this is to keep you from health care. That's what this is. This is to keep you from health care because she's a gutless wonder who will not do what she promised.
Okay, before we go on, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is one of the most popular Democratic representatives in the House. She has her, went from being a bartender to now serving in the House, one of the youngest ever elected when she was elected, a proponent bringing the conversation of democratic socialism into the minds of the younger generation, literally appearing on streaming platforms like Twitch, where the young generation lives, and is racking up like literally millions of followers. So she has a massive reach, and she absolutely supports Medicare for all. There's no question about that. The fact that Jimmy Dore would grandstand and act like he doesn't know if she really supports Medicare for all and the people is, I mean, it's unhinged. It's a lot of things, but I just find this really. I mean, we're going to get into what I think some of the motivations are soon, but let's just hear a little more of this nonsense. But it's really interesting that this guy on the left feels it's important to not attack Pelosi, not attack the centrists, but attack, the most popular of this progressive wing of Democrats, the future of the party. He wants to attack them. He wants to attack the future of the party.
And you don't get her to do what you want her to do by being fucking nice to her. You get her to do what she's supposed to do by ripping her to shreds, which is what I'm doing right fucking now, because she has it coming. And it's not just her. They all do. She's the only one engaging on Twitter, which is why she's getting it. What it takes is courage from gutless wonders like you, AOC, you fucking phony. And you're revealing yourself. And I am just writing it down. We are You're doing it. And we're marking it. This is her outing herself.
Thank you, Andrew. I was going to say something. Those eyes. Yeah, it's not, let's be real. This guy's not, I don't want to use language harmful to people with mental illness or anything, but those eyes are concerning. When we say that.
As a gaslighting motherfucker. Because you're broken. Because you're corrupted and co-opted. And now we got to lay on you as hard as we can. Everybody sees through you. Everybody sees through you. You don't think people see you? You don't think people see what you're doing? You don't think...
Okay, I've heard enough of this. So there have been a cavalcade of excuses online for Dore from his followers. People just tweeting at him. The other weird thing is he's not just happy attacking AOC. Again, one of the most popular Democrats, leader, one of the clearest leaders of this new progressive movement to realign the Democratic Party. But he's also going after other people on the left. He attacked David Sirota, who worked for the Bernie campaign, a progressive journalist. And look at this. Sirota had to call him out. You deliberately doctored the tape. This is a video, an interview they did together, to remove me agreeing with you about the Kevin McCarthy point because you wanted to grandstand. Own it, apologize for it, and keep pushing the Medicare for All vote, which I agree with you on, and which is the important healthcare cause here. So he's literally doctoring video of Sirota, which is very odd that he would do such a thing. But let's see here. And then, Jimmy Dore doubles down. You humiliated yourself. Now deal with that and quit your disingenuous whining. You made a big deal over Kevin McCarthy being speaker, and that's a non-issue. Yet you made it the cruz, with a Z, cruz of your argument. You got exposed as a mealy-mouthed guy who was wrong on facts and had no point. I think we could all agree there's some projection going on here. Let's go through some more tweets. I like this guy Jackson, the syndicalist. This whole AOC versus Jimmy Dore conversation feels like a psyop designed to tear the left apart. Yeah, agree. This is my own tweet. Sorry about that, but the right makes the Dems villains because it helps them electorally. People like Dore, who's supposedly on the left, turn Dems, including AOC, into villains because ... Yeah, and I was retweeting this person. I've been more shills and dumbasses than I can count, which is one, immature, and two, not true. I also think the tenor of the entire saga stems from Dore's overall tactlessness. He's a blowhard, and that has trickled down. I agree with that. Let's see here. Here's Ben Dixon of The Ben Dixon Show. 1,000 more anti-AOC, anti-Cory Bush, anti-squad videos, and Jimmy will be able to buy a house with a pool instead of his $1.9 million working class home in L.A. Let's see. And there's just a point that there are more important things going on. I mean, not that Medicare for All isn't important. Thank you. Solid Dore impression. Thank you. I tried. God fucking damn it. Love Ken Klippenstein, a genius, wonderful reporter. The anti-stimulus crowd is clearly on the ropes here. Maybe we can yell about this instead of Jimmy Dore. Schumer joins Bernie on Senate floor to push for $1,200 stimulus checks. Senate Minority Leader now signaling he's not happy with current bill. The bill has $600 checks in it right now. So, yeah, there are slightly more important things going on than what Jimmy Dore thinks we need to be talking about. And this is what is really concerning about this whole thing, is that let me paint a picture here for a second, okay? The left, I'm a leftist. I want the left to have power, okay? That's my goal. I would like more power for the left. Now, if we try to understand tactics a little bit, we can look at the right and the Republican Party. How did we get to this point? How did we get to Donald Trump? How did we get to corporate America paying zero corporate tax? How did we get to now, this point of now, where the wealth class, for the first time since income tax, paid less of a percentage of their income than you and me, than the average working American, than the 99% of Americans? How did we get to that point? Well, a long time ago, before I was born, I think my dad was younger than I am now. The conservatives and the Republicans, after decades of progressivism from FDR, they had a pretty major victory with Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon was a victory for the Republicans, okay? Then Watergate happened, and it was a disaster for them. And I don't have any proof of this, but I have to believe that the conservative intelligentsia circled their wagons after Nixon resigned and Jimmy Carter got elected, of course. And they said, how do we make sure this never happens again? How do we make sure how do we make sure that our power is so deeply entrenched that we can have an openly corrupt president? How can we, and basically they sat down and said, how do we make a long game? And if you look at how, Dick Cheney running in the House, and working with Donald Rumsfeld when Rumsfeld was in the House, then later running in the House, Cheney served in the Nixon White House. These guys made a plan, and they made a long game plan, and it was multi-pronged. It involved conservative media, talk radio. In the 90s came Fox News, and they knew, it was really, we're living in the outcome of it. They fought a two-front war, the culture war, all the while shoring up their power, doing it in the judiciary. We now have a stacked Supreme Court. We have the federal courts are full of conservative judges. The Senate stacked for them. They know how to leverage their power. They know how to leverage everything they can. Okay. I want to do that now for the left. I want the left to realize how down and out we've been and recognize the power that we do have, that we have in someone like AOC, that we have in somebody like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, but also in people like Bernie in the Senate and Ed Markey as well. Like we have to recognize the power that we do have. We also got to recognize why we lost the primary, and we got to recognize what we got to do to build up that power. Now, AOC is being attacked by Jimmy Dore here for not doing enough, like acting like a House member now entering her second term is going to rally all 15 of those representatives to vote against Pelosi for just this one vote, which, let's be real, would be a totally performative vote. We all know Medicare for All is not going to pass, especially not going to pass with Mitch McConnell, the majority leader of the Senate, and even with a tie in the Senate, they'll filibuster it as well, the Republicans. So you're literally not going to get anything from that vote. Just this list that Dore wants somehow of, I want to know exactly who voted against it. Why don't you pay attention, Jimmy Dore? Why don't you pay attention to the election and to how Democrats ran? Most of the Democrats that in swing districts who didn't endorse Medicare for All, they lost their votes. It's a hugely popular policy among voters. So there is support for it. Again, Kamala Harris, which Dore people are already trying to say, there's no way she'll vote for Medicare for All. I think Kamala Harris is more inclined to lean which way the wind is blowing, and that's why I believe she co-signed it with Bernie Sanders in the Senate. Now, he wants to spend all this time attacking AOC. I would like to build the power of the left. I would like AOC to have more power in the House to swing around. So guess what? Over the last few days, while Jimmy Dore was causing the scene and attacking AOC, there was a decision made in the House about the Energy and Commerce Committee. And Kathleen Rice from New York beat out AOC for spot on coveted House committee. A fight over a seat on the Energy and Commerce panel carries implications for policy and power in the next Congress. Now, obviously, it doesn't all come down. I'm not blaming Jimmy Dore for this. AOC gave a interview to The Intercept in which she said, I think Nancy Pelosi has to go. And people in the committee were saying that was a problem, that Ocasio-Cortez is attacking our own party, so why should we appoint her to anything? Part of what has made Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez so popular in the House is what she's done on committee with her committee seatings, and how she's grilled people, CEOs and otherwise, about different issues, and how she's represented leftism and social democracy, and pointed to people how corporate America and how the wealth class takes the government for a ride, and corporate welfare for the rich, not for you and me. So wouldn't it be nice if we had a progressive movement from the likes of Dore and them who were actually putting the pressure on Nancy Pelosi instead of AOC for something that mattered, like committee chairs, to help build the influence of the left, to help build the power of the left? How many people know about Katie Porter because of her committee seatings and the kind of sweat that pours down the backs of CEOs and others who are who she's grilling in there? Check this out. But notably, top Democrats did not choose a nominee for the final seat, which is essentially reserved for New York member, forcing Rice and Ocasio-Cortez into a head-to-head matchup. So it was her versus this more conservative representative from New York, Long Island. And this guy from Texas, Henry Cuellar, quote, "I'm taking into account who works against other members in primaries and who doesn't." So this belies a very important truth about what's going on here. The left, we don't have the power that we need right now. And what we need to have is a long game thinking. We need to plan a long game and, set a far target and start shooting for it. That includes primarying more conservative Democrats in blue districts and even swing districts for that matter. And yes, that's gonna pay a political price, as she did here, but it's also going to reap benefits. It's going to increase the number and increase the power of the progressive wing of the party. Jamal Bowman primaried a very insider centrist Democrat, Elliot Engel, and so did AOC. AOC did the same thing. So these are representatives who understand the work that needs to be done. They understand that things more important than a performative vote. And, it's funny, there are a lot of people on Twitter who support Jimmy Dore who are, trying to say things about those of us on the left who don't agree with this tactic. I think it's reckless. I think it's stupid. I think it's dividing the left. If you want something from the center, why are you attacking the people that you actually have in there, the actual leftists in there? It's it's definitely shooting yourself in the foot to a certain degree. But there are a couple things that all these Jimmy Dore supporters keep saying, that the only people on here who would question Jimmy Dore are wealthy, college-educated, Ivy League liberals who already have money in healthcare, blah, 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 blah. Let me assuage all doubt with that, okay? Tribunus plebis in the media keeps saying, preach, preach. So I'm feeling a little incensed. So I'll try to calm it down a little bit. But I take issue with people telling me that I'm some wealthy, that I'm just a lib because I want strategy and I want long game thinking for the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. I know what it's like to not have health insurance. I haven't had health insurance for 2 years after I lost my full-time job. I have a gap in my teeth because I didn't have dental insurance for years, and I had a cavity that went so bad that the choice for me was between a root canal and an extraction, and I couldn't afford the root canal. I want Medicare for all. I definitely want Medicare for all. I think it would be one of the most important and really would build the power of the left in a progressive Democratic Party. If the Democratic Party were to champion that, it would have a massive effect on most Americans' lives and probably ensure voters and power for generations to come. I want Medicare for all. But when it comes time for the House to vote on it, I would like it to pass. That's how I feel about it. I would actually like Medicare for all to pass. And I don't think Jimmy Dore is acting like he's accomplished something in the past few days, and he's literally saying in these videos, like, it took me 5 days. Look, I could do it in 5 days. He stirred up a Twitter mob, everybody. Not hard. It's literally just like what Twitter does, right? Twitter is a bunch of people standing around with unlit torches and a pitchfork leaning against, the barn, just ready to go. The Twitter is always ready to supply a mob, right? So he just stirred one up. It's not hard. So I hope, as the left, we can be strategic, we can be smart, and we can have more long game thinking, and realize we don't need faux, like, wannabe, shock jock people like Jimmy Dore, who's trying to, I don't know, lead with rage and anger. I think it was Christopher Hitchens who once said, rage provides a very sloppy energy, but it will get you out of bed in the morning. I think, it's good to have anger towards the centrists and the neoliberals that hold on to their power and have made things as bad as they are, and continue to hold on, clutch to their power, and the status quo. But why would you direct that same rage at the people who are actually trying to help and actually grow a movement? It's shooting yourself in the foot, and I think it's irresponsible. But what do I know? I'm just another guy on YouTube. I'm not yelling as crazy as him. But even when my wife watches me, she tells me, "Hey man, you need to tone it down. You sound angry. You need to calm down. It's not fun to listen to." So I'm trying, folks. I'm trying myself to be better about this, and I just think that there were more important things to talk about. Obviously, there were, AOC could have been seated on that committee if there were people pressuring those people choosing the committee, the representatives voting on that. If there was a Twitter mob going after them and not Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Tribunus Plebeius Media says, it's hard not to be angry sometimes. Totally with you on that, man. And I used to say all the time, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. But another thing I'm trying to be real about myself is, where did we fail during the primary as Bernie supporters, especially those of us online? Where did we fail? And I think one of those is the way we come off. Just with the anger and the like holier than thou attitude and the you don't get it. And now, you can't. It's funny. I was arguing with somebody about this on Facebook in the Michael Brooks listeners group. And I said, I don't think this vote is strategic or a good idea. I think it's performative. And that, this person was arguing, Jimmy Dore is right. They should leverage whatever power they have, and we should leverage our power against them to get this vote. And I said, I would like Medicare for all to pass when we actually get it to a vote. I don't just want this performative vote. And they said, well, you're just they called me a lib. You're just being a lib, and you're just trying to engage in the system, man. If you guys are going to crap on engaging in the system, then why are you even bothering attacking AOC? It sounds like you just want to be angry and you just want to target. And you're not serious about building our power and building the left.